just wanted to real quick let you share your story in short form and let folks know what's Carnivore done for you. What's brought you into this? Why would you come all the way from, where'd you say, Missouri?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri, to be here for this.
Well,
Flip it up. The microphone.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
go.
my trip kind of started a couple years ago from the sad American diet. Just started eating non-processed food, making my own stuff. Then went into keto for about 8 or 10 months. And then a year ago, I was struggling with keto, I guess the usual carb creep, adding a lot of cheese and avocados, and tend to go up and down a little bit on my weight. Nothing dramatic, but I'd lost close to 50 pounds originally on keto. And then carnivore, I just happened, and I'd heard of it. And I thought, what is carnivore? That just sounds crazy. And happened on a Ken Berry video, because I actually started following Annette Boz.
Dr. Boz.
Dr. Boz. Mm-hmm. She got me going great on keto, kept me motivated there. And then I was having to fast more to keep my weight stabilized. And I thought, well, let's try carnivore, because what really encouraged me was when Ken Berry was saying, no portion control, just stuff your face.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I could do that. And so went into it just in about 2 weeks. It'll be a year since I started. Started with Ken Berry. Then I found Mitch on Old Guy Carnivore, and I can kind of relate to him. He's closer to my age. I'm 68. I think Mitch is getting ready to turn, he's about 79 coming up next month, I think. But so I don't know. It helps to watch Dante here. I watch you on YouTube. Not as much as Mitch and Ken yet, but I'm inspired now to watch more of yours, and I hear about so many other carnivores that learn from you. So that's inspiring to meet people. It's always good that we all share our stories.
Absolutely.
And since I am the oddball in my family, as far as, not 1% or whatever we are, it's good to come hang out with the tribe and just kind of be able to stay the course.
Is this your first time getting together with other carnivores like this?
No, I was in Tampa back in September. I met up at one of the Brazilian steakhouses down there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Papa Carnivore organized that. Was somebody down there? Maybe not. I can't remember. But Mitch was there. I was really excited to meet Mitch, because I'd been following him for just 2 or 3 months, and he was just, I could relate to his recipes and his whole philosophy about everything, life, and personal struggles and stuff like that. So,
what makes it worth it to take all that time to drive so far? I mean, what is it that you get from being in this group together like this?
Just hearing, as Kelty would say, the stories, everybody's story. It's like, I don't need a scientific double-blind study that's never going to happen to tell me how I feel on carnivore. And what is it? N equals 1 is me. I just know the results, and I don't have the serious health effects that a lot of people had coming into carnivore, but I was just feeling sluggish, and I'd sleep 8 or 9 hours and then still take a nap for an hour and a half in the afternoon. But I just retired a couple of years before that. This is no way to spend your retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So my energy level is one of the most rewarding things. My sleep. First, I thought I had insomnia, but I sleep 5 to 6 hours max a night, and I feel fantastic.
Yeah, it's
with
amazing.
no naps. I mean, people can't even fathom that are on the standard diet.
I know.
I couldn't have a year ago. Even on keto, I was still sleeping and setting an alarm and all that. I don't set an alarm. I go to bed at sometimes 8 o'clock, because my old dog wants to go to bed early too.
And that's a new thing, being able to wake up that way.
Like this morning, I set my alarm for 3 because I want to get on the road to get here. But my brain woke me up at 2. As Dr. Schultz says, what do you do when you wake up? Get up.
Yeah,
Read a book.
exactly.
Watch a video, whatever.
Awesome.
So
I understand you bicycle too, you said.
been cycling for about 30 years. Fortunate, I have 2 daughters that cycle with me.
Don't they need a lot of carbs? Isn't that important?
They do, but I don't. And that was my biggest concern. A year ago, well, almost 2 years ago, when I went keto, with the brainwashing, you got to have carbs, you got to have sugar to have energy to ride. I thought, how am I going to ride my bike if I go keto? And then once, it took me a couple-week transition to get through it. I don't know if I really had the keto flu, but the little bit of sluggishness till you're converting. And then once your body starts relearning what it should be doing, I mean, the energy is just, what do they say? It's comparable to being a diesel instead of a more consistent power. There you go. And still people I ride with, they don't, they don't want to give up their beer and their sweets and all that. But I still hang out with my friends, go ride with them. And they're just, it always floors me if I'm on a group ride, like I don't eat all day and they eat breakfast and they're like, what'd you have for carbs today? I don't do carbs. What do you do for energy? I'm burning fat. There you go, from yesterday. That's the amazing part. My longest fast was probably 3 weeks ago. I went 5 days. Yeah. I'd only done 2 to 3 day fast before that a couple times on keto. In fact, I didn't fast at all for my first 8 or 9 months on carnivore because I just didn't have that yo-yo weight like I used to on keto. I thought, I'm gonna try a longer fast, see how I do. Once I make it past day 2, it's like the feeling on day 3 and on is like crazy. I considered going 7 days. I felt so good. But I thought, well, I don't want to push it. So yeah. So I might try a little longer one next time.
So what was your diet like when you first started? What did you start eating? What was the meals that you chose to get started with?
Now, you talking about before carnivore?
No, I mean when you started carnivore.
Oh, when I
like for
started
anybody who might
carnivore,
be watching that wants to know, how do I get started on this?
Go to Dr. Ken Berry, starting carnivore, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I was all in on that. I mostly to this, and I was still throwing in, I was drinking I was a big milk drinker my whole life, another brainwash thing, and think I can't give up milk. So I was doing heavy whipping cream, which that's loaded with carbs too. I was drinking glasses of that. So I finally weaned myself off the heavy whipping cream. And then probably 6 months ago, I weaned myself off the cheese just because of the extra carbs I don't need. And so I got rid of I supplement some sardines mixed with my eggs sometimes in the morning, which grosses out most people that know me. My wife comes in the house, what stinks in here? Oh, it's my sardines.
On your average daily, what's a normal amount of meat you eat? Do you know?
Well, like yesterday, I had probably 8 slices of thick sliced bacon, 6 eggs mixed with a can of sardines. That was I normally eat 2 meals a day, not 10 a.m. intermittent fast. So 10 a.m. and then by 5 o'clock, I usually, like yesterday, sometimes I'll just have a big ribeye. Other times like yesterday, I went ahead and added 5 more eggs. So 11 eggs yesterday, probably a 14-ounce ribeye and bacon in the morning.
And you're 68. When was the last time you felt this good?
Decades. Seriously, 20 years ago. And I started cycling in my mid-30s. I wasn't doing anything. I was never into sports. I tried running, didn't like that. And then my brother-in-law actually got me interested in cycling, doing some benefit rides for the MS 150 in Kansas City. And I just got hooked on cycling because you can do it as an independent thing or with a group. And I enjoy it more with a group now. But I used to think that you could cycle your way through bad diet. And that's because I always made the joke. I would go ride. I'd ride 100 miles. This is in my 30s. I can still do it, but not as fast as I was. But I'd ride 100 miles, but then I'd stop and get a big burger and fries and a shake and all that, thinking, well, I'm burning off those calories. And then I found out once you hit your 60s, like I did, you can't exercise through a bad diet.
I know a lot of young guys who are very fit and in shape that talk about that they can just eat anything they want. And I think it catches up with them, is what you're saying.
And even when I could do that or did that, I didn't have the sustained energy. I still had the ups and downs, borderline hyperglycemic sometimes where I had a sugar crash. I was a big dessert guy my whole life, ever since I was a kid. Family dinner, Thanksgiving, I could eat a big meal, and then I had to have at least 2 desserts. I sat there in a food coma. Yeah. I can sit there. I'm totally free of that now.
That's awesome. So you'd call this freedom.
Food freedom. Exactly.
Food freedom. There you go.
Well,
Steve Rogers, folks, The real Captain America. Good job, Steve.
Thanks for your time.
I appreciate you.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?